sun has an energy all her own. As a witch, I've gotten to know this energy, and today I want to share with you, wild ones, the deepening of that knowledge. This video will highlight the sun, but today we are talking about honey in witchcraft. The two don't necessarily seem like they partner or have a connection, but in fact, that is not the case, for honey is made by bees, and bees are subservient to the sun herself. The sunlight is deeply embedded in flowers in the wild, and it just so happens to be the main ingredient in making honey. So sit back and join me, wild ones, as we explore the dwindling sun and what I have come to know about honey and witchcraft through becoming a beekeeper. Journey with me as I share a little of my first year being a beekeeper and what I have come to know about bees through this journey, which has fueled my spellwork and added honey, wax, and even propolis to my list of wild woodland witch tools. This gratitude I feel for the bees and the sun has come just as we are losing her warmth this autumn, shifting toward winter. And so I will also be taking you with me as I make a semi-frozen bird and land feeding craft to thank the wild. And we are going to be making a delicious sun and honey infused bread to honor the sun's blessing for this year's honey harvest, complete with recipe within the video this time. And you will experience some kitchen witchery too. I will also take you with me as I harvest this first year's blessed sun-kissed honey. My name is Heather Lynn, if we haven't met before, and I am the Wild Woodland Witch. Or perhaps today, I'm the Wild Beekeeping Witch. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join our Wild Woodland community. Would love to see you here or on Instagram for more inspiration, and your comments are always welcome. They usually inspire upcoming videos, and thus, I thank you ahead of time. So let's begin with an overview to observe a little bit of my first year journey into becoming a beekeeper. And it starts with meeting my mentors, who I bought wax from last year for my salves and other herbal creations. And it went like this.
Yay! I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. There is no substitute. Honey is magic, pure magic in itself. It fuels, it creates, it sustains, it enlivens. I'm just really honored to work with these bees, and
This caps my final first year beekeeping. I actually think I could call bees some sort of totem of mine. I've always been fascinated by them, but I've also always been respectful. And since becoming a beekeeper, like I had no idea the kind of beekeeper that I would become.
And now here are a few things I have learned about bees and the magic within their honey that can freely be used in your spell work. Bees, above all, are a community. They do not seem to feel separate from each other at all. They are always connected energetically. They work together as one hive. In fact, I don't see a bee as a bee anymore. All I see is the oneness. I see the hive, a living, breathing, telepathically connected hive that works in harmony. They have 2 switches, on and off. And do you know who flips that switch? The sun. The sun fuels their activity. They are either resting because the sun is gone or working. And I mean working hard. When they work harder than I've ever seen any creature work. In fact, sometimes they work themselves to death. So when we think about honey as part of a spell, we have to understand where its power really comes from and what it can do magically. And the only way to know that is to know bees. And here is my take. Honey is pure sun elixir. Infused in it is the strength of many and harmony. This harmony is available for a working tribe, a family, a coven, a culture, or even a united self. Honey can bring out what matters most to the surface, leave pettiness aside, and work hard for an end goal. Honey also has a charged up, go-getter vibration, and it is very powerful. So if you need a spell with a kick, look no further. I think using honey in kitchen witchery is my preference because honey is food and fuel for the brain. Watching bees make honey, you don't want to waste a drop. I have gone from using a teaspoon in a spell to the absolute smallest possible drop that I can when I'm not consuming the honey. Unless I am adding it to food, I am preserving it, respecting the work that has gone into it, and holding a place for honoring that work that it took so long for the bees to create and craft together. Propolis is the glue that holds the colony together. If a bee sees a space, they want to fill it with comb. They use propolis to glue things together and to keep the colony safe by keeping the hive airtight to manage temperature. Wax also has a unique quality, and how the bees make it is the key to using it in your craft. Bees make wax together. They form hexagon shapes over and over and over again. The shapes fit together like a puzzle, and inside each cell, they store their honey, breed their young, and even create a brand new queen. And this is known as honeycomb. When I use honeycomb in my craft, it's to hold something together, an idea, a vision, to birth something, to nourish something. The power it holds is formed by the power of many, and thus it exudes strength not only from its construction, but from the hexagon shape itself, the power of 6. In numerology, 6 is harmony, stability, and the home itself. If you're crafting a spell for harmony in the home, honeycomb is the perfect ingredient. Beeswax can be made into candles to bring harmony to a home, or bring unification to a family that lives in that home. I use beeswax in all my salves because of its nutrition for the skin, but also because it's part of the hive. If you think about comb as cells, it only makes sense to use it to heal our own cells on our skin, and honey has the power to heal as well. If you put honey on a puncture wound, it will quickly heal because it grows skin fast. But don't put it on a cut because it will grow skin where you don't need it. Wax is more appropriate for that. Honey is amazing for the face as well. In fact, I use it fresh from the hive to give myself a natural face tightening treatment. I do this with the extra honey that I can't get off of my hands when I'm harvesting. I don't want to waste it, not a drop. There is true magic in the hive. When I work with the bees, I feel it. It's like a box of sun energy, such joy. It has brought me to tears many times, and I deeply talk to the hive. I talk to the being that is the hive, the essence of the bee, the oneness. There is nothing like being witness to this process, but if you want to use these powerful tools in your craft, take my word for it. The bees would love it. They would be honored if you were to make more magic and bring more harmony into your hive.
I decided to wear my witch's hat. I think a leaf fell on me. Oh yeah. Fall is here.
Okay, so in honor of the sun, let's make a honey sun bread. You can make this for Litha to welcome her return, but this year I wanted to make one to send her on her way. I wanted to infuse the last of the honey harvest into this loaf for my family and for some wee children that I know. Psst, did you know I'm a preschool teacher? I love it. The recipe for this bread is from Moody Moons, and I will leave the link for you below. It's actually her Lammas bread recipe, which is harvest bread, so technically we are sort of offering the right spirit here. Because I wanted to work some kitchen magic, I used her recipe as a base and embedded my own ingredients. So this is my version of this bread. First, set an intention for this magical baking session. A little candle perhaps, or a mini altar of sorts to represent the sun. These ingredients will fuel your spell's power. Next, add half a cup of warm water to 2 packages of yeast and a little honey. Let it froth, let it grow, and infuse the mixture with your very, very specific intentions. Add your love, perhaps envisioning the sun's light or the power of the hive itself. I like to use a spoon to stir in my intentions, and I always end up adding incantations too. Next, pour in 4 cups of whole wheat flour, the yeast mixture, and add more of the honey. I added about 4 tablespoons in total. Then add the salt, which adds purification, then more water, and 4 tablespoons of sunflower oil, and begin to form the loaf with a spoon. I love to add sounds or words to the loaf as it forms. I sometimes sound like I'm speaking parcel tongue. Once the loaf has been formed and it feels ready to rest, let it sit for 1 hour and get to some activities, maybe some with the spirit of thankfulness. May I suggest a circle craft to hold the sun's spirit. Let's make this lovely offering to the land together in thankfulness to the bounty of this autumn's harvest. I used my bird bath, but any bowl would do. You first fill the bowl with water. I like to set it with spirals, the spiral of life, and add wild berries that you intentionally harvest for the birds. Also add seeds. You can even add peanut butter, soil for the worms, or bits of broken down vegetables. Many insects like that. Add this mixture to your bowl and let it sit overnight. After the night, dump it out upon the land and let the animals have at it. In the deeper winter with a true hard frost, you can add a string and hang it from a tree, and as it drips, it will also plop out the little berries and seeds, and this will feed the birds and the bugs just coming out of hibernation. And back to the bread we must go. And we'll let the air out and let her prove again. This time, form the loaf into a tin or shape it into a circle on a pan. Use honey on the outside mixed with egg white. Along the outside, add sesame seeds to the loaf. Each part of this bread has its own correspondence, and you can find some of that in the link below. I chose sesame for my own personal need for that correspondence to luck. Luck for the hive for the winter, and luck for my family to do the same. In this session, I used my grandmother's bowl, and I also used my grandmother's tin. Using cooking tools from those close to you that have passed on can add power to your kitchen spellwork. This tin has roses in it, but I pushed hard to bring more than the imprint of the rose. I wanted the spirit of those who helped my own family bond together, the power of the feminine center of our family, both my grandmothers. After a good long bake, the loaves are complete, and the magic, well, it can truly begin now. Everyone can have a piece, and the next part is my favorite. Watching the spell work its way into all of our lives, bringing harmony of home and hive. Well, wild ones, thanks for joining me here today, and deep blessings to your magic. Thanks for practicing some with me. Blessings to your home, blessings to your community, your hive, and may I say, your hive is lucky to have you. Whether you're queen bee, worker, or drone, we each have a place, we each have a purpose. Through the power of witchcraft and intention work, we work our magic, wild ones. And I hope you will come and find me again.